Right, well, greetings. Thank you so much. I'm going to just have a little discussion, introduce you to Sara Nadaf, who's visiting. She's from Syria originally, can tell us something of her life story and how she got to Europe, because she's now based in Germany. She lived in Italy doing a master's degree, and now she's visiting here to the European Peace Museum. So it's great fun to have you here, Sara, and tell us a bit about your life story.
Yes, thank you, Thomas, for the short introduction. My name is Sara. I'm 34, Syrian from city of Homs, and here in the Peace Museum for almost a week. I grew up in Syria until 26, and then I needed to escape the country because of the war, 2013, and then I could have, luckily, a scholarship in Bologna University, and I traveled safe. Stayed there in Rimini 3 years, studying a master degree in tourism, which I studied this for a long time, where I worked in my country also. It was quite sad that seeing my country is coming to heading to war, and that was not a nice experience in that time to study tourism and see that other countries work into their tourism economy. And that was one of my dreams, to work for the favor of my country, but sad that doesn't happen. Yes, but it's life. We should expect changing the plan all time. Then I joined my family, who also moved to Germany 6 years ago. And now I am here for month of August. Yes.
So can I ask, we were talking yesterday about Delphic games, the idea of art and tourism, and how, let's just imagine that we could wave a magic wand and bring peace to the planet. And I'm working on designing the wand, as you know. Wouldn't the planet be happier if we could all visit each other's country in peace, and cultural tourism was sort of given more prominence? It was as important as war is now. I know friends that run an institute for peace tourism. So if we could visit each other's country, learn about it. I'd love to go to Syria. I've never been. And it has many ancient things to see. Tell us a bit about the cultural heritage of Syria. Why should people visit it? Why is it important? Let's imagine we've got peace again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, first, Syria as a country is really nice place. It's a Mediterranean. It will remind you with every places in the Mediterranean: Spain, France, South France, Italy, Greece. But of course, it has a special nature, like every country. It was inhabited since long time. A lot of people crossed this area, and it's the mountains there are wonderful. And I would say that every mountain I visited, I couldn't find it beautiful as mine in Syria. It's really a nice country. You have 4 seasons there. There are a lot of Romanian and archaeology that I don't know how to say it in English, but it's rooted for a long time. And the people also, what's really precious is the people has time, and they are very welcoming people. So I think that's part from the cultural heritage in Syria. The people all the time welcoming. So whenever you come to them, they open hands and they say, yeah, welcome, just come in. And I think that's one of the very nice assets in Syria, that the people, because they have a rich country. In Syria you have everything. You have oil, you have water, you have wheat. I think even during the war, the first year of the war, we were not so hungry as I would say in another countries who doesn't have a war. But later now, sure, the situation is not, it's very bad. That's very tragic, because a rich country can have this starving days, We never had hunger in Syria, I guess, during the very few moments. So we're very tragic to this happen. So people used really to have time to people, host people, have them for talking. During even the wars in Lebanon, I remember that we opened the houses for the Lebanese refugees, and they came to us, and I mean, I would say that Syrians are really generous in giving food, in giving time, giving drink. That's one of the very nice culture as you will experience there.
And also from Iraq, refugees came.
Yes,
You welcomed them as well, didn't
yes, yes. Of course, there are all the time this. There are also bad people who make war or make trade, let's say, because of the tragic with other people. That's the human nature. Sometimes happen. I would say that the simple people, that the people who really not in charge for money, they still have really this simple generosity each other. But that's not streamed actually. It's you don't find it in the media. You find it just.
It's always the bad news that spreads.
Yes, yes.
Which is a problem with media.
Yes, that's absolutely.
It's like my friend saying only war exists because people are brainwashed. You know, you turn on the telly, it's always some war, conflict, violence, or bombing.
Yeah.
And whereas peace, two people talking about art, well, that's not news. You know.
Yeah.
So tell us, you've told me some very moving stories about Homs, how the epicenter of this Syrian troubles, the war, broke out in Homs. Tell us what actually happened there, and where is this city?
Well, this Homs is in the middle of Syria. It happened like 2011. I think we were the second city who has started to have troubles, and sad that we, like city of Homs were destroying, and the other cities were still, they didn't have the same problems as we had. We had it in the beginning, yes. Tragic that a lot of people moved from their houses, and the Christian quartier, the old city of Homs, destroyed. That time. Now it's better. The situation, as they say, is the city is also very much destroyed.
So it was a very old city, Homs.
It was an old city.
And it was originally Christian in the old time?
Yes.
Did it have cathedral, churches, that kind of thing?
The old city of Homs has like four. The Zinar, the oldest church there.
And you were friends with a Jesuit priest, weren't you, who was helping in Homs?
Yes.
Tell us about his life. Why did you like him? What did he do for peace?
Yeah, Frans van der Lucht is a great guy, really. We know him since he lived in Syria 50 years. He came from the Netherlands and speaks Arabic. He was a Jesuit father. And he was just an amazing guy that he could really make peace in Syria before the war. And during the war, he served until the last moment. He refused to go out because they were Christians also to stay in that place under bombing. And he was kind of mediator between the regime and the rebels who were there. So we call him the man of peace. He was that guy, really, and nobody hates him. He was able to talk with the two different parts. And the last meeting I saw him, I really appreciate this moment because the what I say as an opinion, he all the time reflect the opposite. So he really help you to not be radical, fanatic with your ideas. To yes, you are saying this and this and this, but look, there's all the time two people that do the problem. There's no victim. There are all the time two parties are responsible for the problem, and that's I really appreciate. He was working in silent. He was really smart, intelligent. He has a very good high intelligence, smart, emotional intelligence that he could serve without making trouble. He do everything in silence, and that's really I appreciate it. And before the war, he could make a big hike in Syria that all Muslims, atheists, Christians, communists, all people with different perspective, rich, poor, old, and old people and also young people, children with us. We were going in the mountains in the day that we didn't have neither Google Map or mobile phones. We could be stuck in the mountain for 4 or 5 hours, lost. We don't find the way, and then we end up celebrating in the middle of night. And it was really nice days in Syria before the war. Yes, although there was also we are like a country out from the capitalism, let's say. We are not like other countries. We have a lot of we don't have, for example, we cannot pay online, we cannot use a lot of things that now the normal people do. But even though we could be happy, and that's a nice experience from the days before the war, I would say. Yes, so
you were rich culturally and socially because you had more community, more sense of family.
yes.
So you didn't need your kind of PayPal capitalism because you had each other.
Yes, that's true. The farmers could all the time sell their products, and yes, a different system, but still.
I've told you before about how Assange, this journalist who founded WikiLeaks, is in jail in London, and in his book, which he edited based on WikiLeaks transcripts, they've discovered that the Americans were seeking to destabilize Syria before the war and were planning sort of regime change in secret, which I find abhorrent. I deeply apologize that the Americans could have even thought of doing that, and yet apparently they did. It's in black and white. And that's why Assange is being persecuted by them for revealing these things. A lot of things go on in secret in diplomacy for war, and these people have normalized that, which I think is wrong. You know, I'm completely opposed to intervening in other countries' civilizations for making it destable.
Yeah.
You know, it's just shocking. And I want to bring these people to justice. I'm with Assange. You know, I'm not a geek, or I would have set up WikiLeaks 2 or 3 and made it even more secure. I think there's a lot of secrets still to come out about how Syria was destabilized.
Yes.
Tell us, I'm interested, as you know, in religious studies. And because in Syria you have an interesting mix, don't you? You're partly Catholic, partly Orthodox.
Went more to Jesuit,
and then you go to a Jesuit.
Sometimes atheist.
And then you have the Druze. Tell us about the Druze religion. What does that believe in? The Druze.
The Druze, yes, Druze. I think they are an interesting group in Syria that I recently started to listen to what they say. In Syria, there are a lot of groups of Islams, and Druze, I think they are really good in understanding the universe. I'm not too much. I don't know too much details about them, but they believe in philosophy. Like also, they believe with the Christ as a sign of wisdom. They call it a tawheed, al-muwahhidun. And I think they're still, a lot of them based in south of Syria and Sweden, and I think these people are really wise and they have their wise way to stay peacefully, that they don't interface, like they survive the country even a lot of wars. And
they've been there for 1,000 years, I think, surviving in the mountains.
Yes.
But they're more like theosophists. They believe in reincarnation.
Right.
They influenced Blavatsky, who went to Syria. They're more Gnostic, if you want.
Yes.
Which is what I think is quite interesting.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the Christians, the Gnostic Christians of Haran and these places in northern Syria in ancient times. Have you been to those places?
No, sadly, I wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah, through Father Frans with the hikes, we could a little bit move inside the country, but yes, we didn't have this culture. I think like the European here has it, and I think it's nice that they hike, they do all the time this walking. I think the Arab countries, like starting from the 50s or something, they really. I don't know who we can blame for this, but the modern life or the modern education that lets people really separate from nature, and they spend all their time with their materialistic stuff. So I don't know if it's a global problem, but in the Arab countries, I think that's one from the reasons that why people even don't appreciate the beauty or make for the beauty. That's
your question to me earlier, was why people have lost a sense of beauty.
And if you will ask me about the art and how the beauty in life, and that's a question really wonder me all the time. Because we used during the hiking to hike in the villages, in the very poor villages in Syria, and it was very interesting. Like some villages that don't have at all nice buildings or the houses. You feel that nobody lives there. And other villages, they have much better. They both have the same economic situation, for sure. But some villages were really caring with flowers, with beauty, with plants, and the other not. And that's the question was why. I was once in Egypt as well, and 2008, and there people are very poor, and outside and along the river of Nile. But even they have very poor buildings, but they draw. They have their own way of art. Even they are poor. And in Syria, sadly, we didn't have this. That's one of the comparisons that I found out, that the people divorce art, divorce expressing themselves. You neither find people making very rich houses with a lot of things. They spend money to make it beautiful, but it's not origin art. Or villages that they are with nothing, very ugly. So that's brought me back. Why that we don't use art to express ourselves? Why we divorce our culture? Why we forget the good music, the heritage of the cultural heritage that these countries have?
I don't know. It's a good question, isn't it? I mean, you love Arabic music and Middle Eastern music. Can you tell us a little bit about that music scene? There are people taking that now to Europe and
yes.
traveling.
Yes, surprisingly, that the people who are really talented with the music doing very well in Europe, because people in Europe also like to listen to different music and they appreciate it. I don't know if it's also a global problem everywhere, that the good musician don't flourish in their countries.
They have to go abroad.
Yes, not only the musician, I think even the scientists. Anyway, but back to the Arabic music. Sad, we have a very nice cultural heritage with the music, and nobody listen or also appreciate it. Maybe because of medias, maybe because of the films. I don't know, but we have such a nice. In Syria, there is also opera house, and there are really many friends of mine that they are really talented musicians, and they keep as much as they can learning and practicing the old music, maqams, and try also to build on new composition based on the origin. Yes.
What does maqam mean in Arabic?
Maqam is...
Is it a style of music?
I don't know if I can say it, maybe I will be wrong, but it's arrangement of specific notes that they came all the time the same. So when you hear a song, you could figure out, this song, the beginning is this maqam, this and this and this, and then the middle, they start this maqam. So I think it's also well known in Turkey as well. I'm not sure if the origin is from Turkey or the Arab countries. I'm not...
So it's like a theme, a recurring theme.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Did you study music at school? Was it part of the curriculum?
No.
In Syria?
No.
No?
We just, my family loves music and I hear it frequently.
But it wasn't part of the school system?
No. The family, yes, tried to give us some lessons when we were kids. So my brother was really talented, so he gets with music more. No, I'm not. I'm into art. I can't draw very well. And
right.
I listen to music like every day, so all over the world. So music from folk music is also a very interesting topic for me, and I wish that I work with this to save it. But yes, music can help. I would say I'm selective with music because music it has a mathematic inside, and when you listen to it, if it's well done, not the boom boom boom, the very loud music.
Sure.
It helps you to get inside yourself, and I think that's the. I'm a bit critic with the music nowadays. I feel like the music which is very loud, that doesn't help you to come inside. It's just make you with a mass. This techno or I feel it sometimes. Maybe it's one of the reasons that made people don't appreciate beauty, or because beauty, I think it's related to your relationship with yourself. If you could have this inner voice, flourish this inner voice, and somehow with good music, silent, spiritual habits, whatever, that helps you. So music, which really silent music, which make you improve this voice, help you to do art, helps you to
think,
think, help you to appreciate a beautiful building or beautiful green scenery or something.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, as you know, I'm doing my commentary on the Quran, and God is the supreme beauty in the Quran, and creates the world as a thing of beauty. But we are constantly destroying that and messing about and creating ugliness. And even in music, we create ugly music.
Yes.
Or in painting, we create ugly painting. And so there's this constant moral entropy going on in the world. This is a difficult question. I don't know how we deal with this, but I've written a book about the devil, my study of devil ideas in history. And it seems to me sometimes that everything beautiful that's thought up or created, some sort of evil force comes along and corrupts it, turns it into something evil, I just wonder what you think about the devil. I mean, you were brought up in a culture in which people maybe believe in the devil. I mean, does the devil like art and music, or is he constantly trying to subvert it and make it ugly?
Well, this is a very interesting question, and maybe the answer will surprise you. That they say actually that the devil, you when you get creative, you have the devil of creativity. So we call it jinn, or like we say shaitan, and we had like. Now I have to look. I have to think in Arabic that you have. You can say that my creativity devils that help me to generate art. So they say even the jinn.
Yeah, spirits.
Jinn, or coming from. I heard one person talking about this. That you have the jinn of the creation. So they say that in spiritual life you have this, let's say the moment of flow, but who owns this moment of flow is one devil or jinn, that he is the genius. So that's the jinn coming from genius.
That's one possible etymology of
yes.
jinn.
Sometimes these devils of creativity can help you making something beautiful. So that if you will ask me about the devil, if it's yes, in our language we use this, that he's
as a creative, a positive thing. Actually, that's ironic, isn't it?
Yes.
But so did Italian poets in the time of Mazzini and the Italian Risorgimento. And we were looking at a great Italian leader of unity who was a poet and stuff. I mean, there was an Italian poet called Cardano who wrote a hymn to Satan, a hymn to Shaitan, saying that, exactly as you're saying, that the devil is the creative one, and God is the one that's always trying to stop that and cause like everything to be boring and the same. And so at the moment, the Taliban attacking Kabul to stop the arts, they think they're doing it in the name of God to get Shaitan, but who's really on the good side of history is the question, really, because the Muslims obviously stopped a lot of the art. Muhammad outlawed a lot of visual representations. And there's still no movie about Muhammad's life, which I find frustrating. I'd love to make a great movie based on my commentary on the Quran. Is there a movie industry in Syria? Did they make films in Syria?
Well, It's a hard question because I'm not very fan with the films, but
In Damascus, there must have been a film industry, right?
very few. They go with soap opera and such things. But with the documentaries, I think there were some very few. But sad that I'm not very familiar with this. Lebanon, I think they have also better film industry than in Syria. Yes, but sad that I'm not familiar.
But Lebanon is now pretty much destroyed, isn't it? Tragic what's happening in Lebanon.
Same, like Syria and Lebanon both were heading in the economic troubles.
Well, my job is to try and restore the the culture of Syria and Lebanon, and Iraq and the other regions of the Middle East back to a peaceful state, using the arts and culture. I want to see a Delphic committee for the games in each of these countries. You can help us with the Syrian one, maybe.
Yes, pleasure.
And get the artists, the musicians, the poets, the painters active and coming to Delphi,
Yes,
each 4 years.
hopefully.
And in Jordan, and because there's so much creativity in the Arab soul, I think. And I think that the anti-Islamic ideas that some of the extreme Western right-wing people have, Islamophobia, I don't think that's the answer. I think we have to love, and all cultures want to love. You grew up in Homs, you were from a Christian minority, but you had many Muslim friends, and you had one of your best friends was a Muslim, right?
Yes, many, not one of my best friends, many.
Right, and you didn't have any problems. I mean, Muslims and Christians got on in Syria, right?
Yes.
In the old days.
Yes, it's. I would say that it. Of course, in every country, like the Arab countries, had the problem of this sectarian problems. I mean, not all people can go along with each other, that's sure. But there were also projects in Syria that improves this relationship between each other. And the problem that when we are in school, we don't know each other. But when we go up to the universities or place of work, and this trust happens sometime between people, you would improve very nice friendship there. Through the hiking, through Musa project in Syria was also improving such relationship between the Christians and the Muslims. So we used to have a lot of Muslims that are visiting us, the Christian projects there, and also friends with Father Frans. And they were also hiking, very, very nice people from all, Samauli, Ismaili, Druze, Sunni, Alawite, Shia, they were from everywhere. But sad that the people needed a place to gather and meet with each other to break this ice. And that's why I appreciate what Father Frans made in the past, this hiking and these projects and art. It was a space to people to meet, and even they established a house called Dar Salam near Homs that day before the war.
The House of Peace.
A house of peace, yes, that you can pray in the Muslim way or the Christian way, or just meditate. So that was before the war. Sad that now I don't know how is the situation in Syria because I don't see news too much. And it's difficult because we have a bloody war. I mean, how to give back the trust to these people now? Even if you are not a part who want to involve in the war, you don't have a protection for yourself. So now everyone is in his bubble. Christians in the mountains, here, Druze in south, here. So it's very hard to build back the trust. I guess it's in every civil war. It's
like what happened in Armenia and Azerbaijan. They just had a war. That's going to take ages to heal.
Yes.
This is why I'm against war, because it's not just the few days of the fighting, it's the trauma in people's minds, which can last for decades.
50s.
In Ireland, it's the same. These people that have screwed up my Irish peace process with their Brexit fantasies, they don't know what they're doing.
Yes.
They're creating going back to the war times in Ireland because they're ignorant. And that's another question, which is, what's the antidote to ignorance? If we agree war and hatred all come from ignorance, as you know, I've started the scientific study of ignorance. Where do you think ignorance comes from in the Syrian situation? Because that's, you know...
Yes, that's a very good question. And I think I could go back to psychology studies to say this, but also from my experience. I think the absence of channels of awareness, that you can say that if you don't have these channels of awareness, like how the families should raise up the kids, how it starts very simply, how the man can choose a good wife, or how the wife could choose a good man, and then have a good family, make enough kids, not many kids, just to give every kid what he needs, and how to appreciate the meaning of life. That's need really institutes like where far from the home, like people who can gather for something, doing something. It's civil, how to say, civil society activities.
Yeah, that's fine. Civil institutions, like my Institute of Peace.
Yes.
More of these are needed.
Such things that help people to gather, to meet, to organize something together, to meet each other, to have time also. Because if you don't have time, you are rushing for the basic things. You won't appreciate the nice things in life. So, yeah, that's sad with not a very good economic situation. You won't be able to appreciate art or love or music. But I would say, even though I am optimistic about this, because I think we like good music, we like good art, but you just need really to open for these people also to talk, to express themselves, to have a space, I mean, all we need really, like, good people, wise people. Yes, so the young people don't feel lost. I would say from my experience, I felt lost sometime during my early age of youth. But thanks God that I could find people that do beauty. They introduce us to music, to concerts, to theater, to appreciate this. So yes, as much as you have these spaces to meet or to expose your things that you appreciate, it's good. It's a good solution.
And tell us what happened to Father Frans van der Lucht, because is he still alive?
No, he was murdered 2014, 7 April. We don't know, someone shoot him, and...
But it's very tragic, because he was trying to bring peace. He was helping young people like you. He'd helped create dialogue. He wasn't taking sides in the Civil War. He was trying to help peace. So somebody shot him. It's very cynical.
Yes, sadly he served 2 years. He was under siege, the old homes when it was under besieged.
Besieged, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the rebels they were all in this old city of Homs. And so when they do agreement that the rebels go out and go out safely, that
I remember that. Yeah, they negotiated a truce. The rebels left.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And was he killed at that point?
The moment, the day that they do the agreement, the next day I guess that someone comes and shoot him.
But that's ridiculous.
Yes, we don't know. I
mean, the Wikipedia page on him says it was the Al-Nusra Front.
We don't know.
Yes,
Yes,
who is the Al-Nusra Front? Who were they?
I think they were I don't know too much.
They were like the Daesh types, were they?
Yes, but we heard about that they are radical
Islamists.
Islamic troops. Yes, who came to my city.
They thought they were doing the good thing, Allah's war. I mean, in my commentary on the Quran, I'm always trying to point out that actually the Quran isn't about a war as the best way to serve Allah. It's actually peace.